Evergreen leaves can be many shapes and sizes. Basic for the capital.
This week we were focusing on informational and explanatory text, which is standard W 2.2. The students should be able to write information about something and support it with facts and definitions. The way I organized my lessons this week is on day one I had the students read informational text. So they had to actually read a passage on evergreen trees before they wrote about the evergreen trees, which incorporated reading into our lesson.
Evergreen tree leaves can be many shapes and sizes. When you think of an evergreen tree, you probably picture a tree with.
The students read a Scholastic News article on evergreen trees. We went over it on the Scholastic News website. We highlighted some details, circled some explanations, highlighted some important words and definitions, and then they used the article to do their planning on their T-chart. So I had the students use a Step Up to Writing T-chart. They are able to plan what their topic is. They are able to write 3 details that support the topic, and they're able to write 2 explanations for each detail. And then they end with a conclusion sentence. And it's all color-coded, so topics and conclusions are green, the stars are yellow, and the explanations are red. So I had them go into the magazine and use stars to highlight what details they wanted to use, and then underline what explanations they wanted to use. You're going to write your rough draft. That's easy. We do it all the time. You're going to color code, right? Try your best to use your capitals, periods, and correct spelling. When you're finished, I want you to read a book until your partner is finished. When your partner is finished, you guys are going to trade papers, read each other's papers out loud, and make the corrections that are on your pencil, right? On day 2, I had them write their rough drafts. So what they did is they took the information from their graphic organizer and they organized it into paragraph form on a piece of lined paper. So after they do that, they color code the sentences to match their graphic organizer. So the topic is underlined in green, the details underlined in yellow, the explanations are underlined in red. They complete their paragraph and switch papers with their partner. And I have their partner read their paper out loud so that they can hear it. And then they're able to go in and correct mistakes, look for capitals, look for periods, look for a variety of words, make sure things are spelled correctly, then make sure that they make sense when you actually read them out loud. And so then when I edit them, they are almost perfect because somebody else helped them.
Was it evergreen or yeah? Was it evergreen or evergreens? Right here. Evergreen. No, evergreen. No, because it doesn't make sense. Some evergreen trees. So some evergreens.
That's what we're going to do today. We're going to look for pictures, and then you guys are going to open up your Keynote. When you open up your Keynote, all your presentations are going to pop up from last time, right? So you have to click up here. You have to click Presentations. And then you need to click the white one with the plus sign to start a new presentation. So day 3 is when we normally would write our final drafts. But this time, instead of having them just write a perfect published paper, I had them put the information into a Keynote presentation. So I had them organize the sections of their writing into slides. So they had a topic slide, they had a detail and explanation slide. Well, they had 3 detail and explanation slides, and then they had a conclusion slide. And they were able to type their information into that and correct whatever mistakes were there instead of just writing it on a piece of paper. The way that this prepares a student for future grades, for online assessments, is the typing that they did. Having them be familiar with that keyboard and familiar with how to use Google and pull information and use evidence to support their text is going to be really beneficial when they get into 3rd grade and have to start typing responses and knowing how to use a keyboard. So this is a good practice for them.
Evergreens by Kristin.
Perfect.
Evergreens stay green all year. Animals can't use every part of evergreens. From top to bottom, evergreen trees have lots to give to animals. All kinds of animals eat evergreen seeds. Evergreen trees can have many shapes or sizes.
So on the last day, day 4, they presented their keynotes to the class. And speaking and listening is a pretty huge part of Common Core. It's a new challenge for most of us to have the students get up and speak to each other, use academic language. And so the kids took each of their iPads, we hooked it up to the Apple TV, and they stood in front of the class and gave their presentation. and they had practice speaking in front of a group. The kids got to practice being part of an audience, being respectful and polite. And then, they clapped for each other at the end and told each other good job, and it was really fun. Anybody should be able to teach this pretty easy as long as you have an article for the kids to use that they can read and you have a graphic organizer that your kids feel comfortable planning with. I think it's a piece of cake. They just have to, edit with their partner and understand what their expectations are.